And that's how I look at it. What makes him get more respect than me? You my next door neighbor, you know, I tell him, you got yours from your family. I got mine from the ground up, from hard work and dedication.
Floyd Mayweather is one of the greatest ever. He's a brilliant defensive fighter. His speed, his boxing savvy, he's just a savant. He's just something special, no question about it. But I gotta look at the Sugar Ray Leonards of the world.
Floyd's way is safe. Not in a punk, but it's like the safe way, like nothing ain't gonna go wrong. But that's how he fight. That's his characteristic.
Floyd Mayweather fired back angrily after Stephen Smith questioned his legacy and suggested Terence Crawford could beat him. Smith argued that Floyd wasn't the greatest ever, saying Sugar Ray Leonard stood above him. He added that Floyd's best wins were at lightweight and that he didn't dominate the higher weight classes the same way. Smith even dismissed Floyd's victory over Canelo as unimpressive, which set Mayweather off, since he wasn't willing to let those comments go unanswered.
About your skill set, it's who you do it against.
Your level of competition. Is it possible that he's so far beyond his level of competition that he made it look easy?
Well, I think he did as a lightweight. When he went up to the welterweight division, not so much. You know what I'm saying? Now, if
taking out Canelo the way he took out.
Well, he just gave him a boxing lesson, but Canelo was 22 years old. See, I remember
That's an excuse, though. I don't like this, like he's 22, he's too young.
I will tell you this. Well, you know, you do have to take that into consideration.
The guy had 100 fights.
Well, let me explain. You have to take that into consideration when boxing is the issue. Now, if he got knocked on his ass, that's different. But when he simply got schooled, when you swinging a punch and Floyd is tapping you on your shoulder saying, I'm behind you, that's a problem. You understand what I'm saying? That's just a skill, like, you know,
we could credit Floyd with that.
Of course, I am crediting. I'm saying he's a brilliant boxer. You know, Floyd knew how to move before you even threw the damn punch. You see what I'm saying? You got to be a veteran to know how to overcome that. You can't put a novice into the ring with Floyd Money Mayweather. You understand? He's going to school you. What I'm saying to you is that if you want to make an argument on Floyd Money Mayweather's half, which I'm not summarily dismissing, I would tell you it's this. Floyd Money Mayweather was undefeated for the last half of his career with one hand. He constantly broke his hand. He constantly broke his hand.
Dode Bay broke down the comparison between Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford after Crawford's victory over Canelo Alvarez. He admitted that as a fan he slightly leaned toward Crawford in a fantasy matchup, but also stressed the importance of balance. Bay reminded everyone that Floyd had already beaten Canelo when he was still developing. He said it's unfair to ignore Floyd's greatness because both fighters brought unique value to the sport. In his eyes, Crawford's dominance is worthy of praise, but Floyd's achievements were just as legendary and should not be overlooked.
That Bud goes about it a little bit better than Floyd in this sense. Floyd will, like, when Floyd fought Canelo, he was standing right there. He wasn't running and all of that. He wasn't doing all of the stuff that they say, oh, a runner, Mayweather's a runner. He wasn't doing that versus Canelo. He was right there. And I can't even really remember Canelo catching him like that, like with nothing. With Bud, I could remember Canelo catching Bud a couple times, but Bud, like, gave him the, all right, put your foot out, what's up? Boxing turn, boxing turn, boxing turn. Like, and was like really standing there and like giving it to him with another type of energy. It was, the energy is more so like, all right, what's up? Like, you can't beat me. Floyd energy be like, bop, bop, I'm better than you. You see what I'm saying? They don't really be respecting that all the time. They'll acknowledge it like, yo, I ain't gonna lie, he hard to catch. But they be like, nah, you didn't beat me up. Bud go about his fights in a way where it's the Mexican fan base gotta be like, I ain't gonna lie, Canelo, he hollered at you. Like, he came at you too. He didn't just be better than you. He was better, and then he was like, all right, I'm gonna come at you. And I think they really respect that. Shit, I respect it. I don't think it's not, I think the less you get hit, the better. I'm always gonna take it that way. So, you know what I'm saying? As a boxing fan, the kind of boxing fan that I am, I would have leaned towards Floyd's performance, but Bud's performance was like, if I'm a casual fan, I'd rather watch the way Bud do it.
Trainer Boozy Ennis strongly defended Terence Crawford's standing in boxing. He pushed back against critics, saying Crawford has proven again and again that he's among the best of his time. Ennis pointed out that Crawford always takes dangerous fights and never avoids big challenges. To him, Crawford performs best under pressure, and that sets him apart from others. By testing himself against the very best, he secured his spot among boxing's elite. Ennis urged people to stop downplaying Crawford's success and instead give him credit for his rare blend of talent, bravery, and accomplishments.
I think he could have got the stoppage. He'll tell you that if he had to sit down a little bit more. But I tell you, Terence can fight and he can box. And he can fight. He'll fight this side. He take chances, man. You know what I mean? And that's how you be great, man. And he one of the greatest out there now. I think he's great. I think he's the best out there right now in that division. You know what I mean?
What's left?
For Terence?
Yeah.
If I was Terence, I would retire. That's what I would do. He did everything, man. He's done everything, man. You know what I mean? You know how many titles he don't want? All that stuff, you know what I mean? I think I'll go off one in the sunset, man. You know what I mean? He don't need no more money. You know what I mean?
Crawford's longtime trainer Brian "Bomac" McIntyre believes there are still major moments ahead for his fighter. He said Crawford could fight 2 or 3 more times before stepping away. He also mentioned a possible move to 160 pounds, not only for more titles but to add to his already legendary career. Bomac made it clear that Crawford's place in history is already secure with multiple undisputed reigns. Even so, the idea of more championships in higher divisions excites the team and the fans. He said Crawford is no longer chasing validation but is building on his legacy by taking on challenges few dare to attempt.
The second time. They can't take it away from him either.
Does this one mean more to you than the other ones?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It gives us the opportunity as a team to go into the Hall of Fame. Instead of a fighter going in there, instead of a coach going in there, it gives us a better chance of going there as a team.
Well, congrats on that. I know that means a lot to you and the
Definitely,
team.
definitely that.
You know, I asked Bud this after the fight 2 weeks ago. Would he consider this a signature win? He said, yeah, one of them. Do you think that was his signature win of his career?
Well, the last fight?
Yeah, the Canelo one.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yep.
Because he was the underdog. Everybody thought that, you know, he was going to get beat.
What's up?
That he was going to get beat. Surprised me.
So what's next for Bud? What do you want to see him do?
I just want to see him, you know, spend time with his family because, you know, training for a fight, you be gone a long time. You're going away from your family. And it could take a toll on you after a while. So,
as his trainer, do you feel like you should just sail off into the sunset after this monumental
well,
win?
you know what? They made it look so easy. Shit, you know what I'm saying? Shit, got 2-3 more in him and shit. You know what I'm saying? Training camp will try harder. You know what I'm saying?
Timothy Bradley spoke from the heart about Crawford's influence. He said many young fighters struggle with self-confidence, especially when critics dismiss their progress. Crawford, however, showed that determination can silence any doubt. Despite the early skepticism, he kept proving himself with one big win after another. Bradley said Crawford inspired the next generation by achieving what once seemed out of reach, becoming undisputed multiple times. For him, Crawford symbolizes more than victories. He represents belief, courage, and proof that dedication beats doubt. That's why young fighters now see him not only as a champion, but as a role model.
The man that you have become, you're a true inspiration to the youth, man. Anybody that's troubled, any troubled kid out there, man, they can look at you and say, hey, man, I got a fighting chance to get myself out the situation. All I got to do is make that choice. That's what you did, Crawford. You made that choice, man. You made that choice to change, bro. You know, you saw going down, man, years ago, man, in 2008, man, when that bullet came through that window, you knew you had to do something or you'll end up 6 feet under, bro. You know, so that courage that you had, man, and that will that you had and that mindset of change, man, and the gym, you know, grooming you and turning you into a man, because that's what boxing does. See, people don't understand, man, that boxing is more than just throwing punches. You know, boxing teaches you discipline. You know, it teaches you love for people, love for others, man. You know, working together. You know, you're there constantly every single day, man. You know, spending time there perfecting a craft, man. Perfecting yourself, understanding yourself, learning more about yourself each and every single day. You push it inside the gym. You know, boxing is more than just throwing punches, man. You know.
Floyd Mayweather's career reached far beyond the ring. As Oladipo explained, Floyd built two images, Pretty Boy Floyd and Money Mayweather, both capturing fans in different ways. Pretty Boy Floyd was a fearless knockout artist early in his career, while Money Mayweather became the defensive master and business genius who turned every fight into a global attraction. His pay-per-view success and self-promotion made him larger than the sport itself. Oladipo credited him not only as a fighter but also as a businessman whose model modern boxers still follow. By combining skill and entertainment, he became more than an athlete. He became a cultural icon.
I'm sorry. He's a genius. He is a fucking... You know, when I get bored with today's crop of boxers, and Terence, to be fair, has kind of helped me out of my boredom, but sometimes I just go on YouTube and I watch the 24/7s, and then I watch the fight. I'm not joking, I watch the whole fucking episodes, and then I watch the fight. And my guy is a genius. A genius. There will always be an argument of, hey, you should have fought that person then, and I get it. I get it, right? It's kind of the argument you can't throw at Muhammad Ali, right? You could throw that argument at Floyd. But dude, unbeaten is unbeaten. Unbeaten is unbeaten. Multi-weight world champion is multi-weight world champion. Do you know what I mean? I've never seen a boxer so like, I'm gonna work you out, and then when I work you out, you're done. Shall I repeat that? I'm gonna work you out, and when I work you out, you're done. And Floyd had this thing where first 2 rounds, you think, oh shit, man, this guy's in this fight, and then he works you out. And then he works you out. Floyd, Pretty Boy Floyd was better than Money, but Money Floyd had obviously the fights, right?
After Crawford's big win over Canelo, debate quickly turned to what he should do next. Some insiders and even members of his camp suggested retirement to protect his legacy. They argued that he has already proven everything and doesn't need to fight anymore. Others disagreed, saying his latest success is being underrated and he still has plenty left. His recent performances show no signs of slowing down, and fans want to see more major matchups. Retirement is an option, but his place in history is already locked in, and whatever choice he makes, his accomplishments cannot be erased.
The fact that Terence Crawford did what he did against Canelo Alvarez, Terence Crawford made himself the face of boxing, and he made it look easy. He made the Errol Spence fight look easy. That was supposed to be the toughest test of his career. I thought it was. The whole world thought it was. It was the easiest fight he had at welterweight. I thought, but I've been saying for years that he's going to easily beat Canelo Alvarez, and he did. But many people expected Canelo to knock him out. That wasn't the case. With that said, now people are trying to throw, he's 38. Tomorrow, Terence Crawford will be 38 years old. He's a 5-division champion. If he wants to stick around, like Terence Crawford stated, okay, Terence Crawford stated, if I do stick around, I'm not dropping down no further than 160 pounds. If he stays in boxing, I say he have 2 more fights. Fight Janibek, who's the unified champion. Hopefully Carlos Adames and Lara fight and unify the belt. 2 fights at 160, pad the stats, become a 6-division champion and a 4-division undisputed champion. Cool. Other than that, Terence Crawford needs to retire.
Trainer Robert Garcia also spoke on the Crawford versus Mayweather debate. He admitted Floyd's record and success are unmatched, but pointed out that unlike Crawford and Pacquiao, he never became undisputed. Garcia said that's what makes Crawford's achievements historic. Still, he leaned toward Mayweather in a head-to-head matchup, saying Floyd's defense, timing, and ring intelligence were impossible to overcome. For Garcia, Floyd's ability to shut opponents down made him a nightmare. While he respects Crawford's greatness, he believes Floyd's fundamentals and IQ give him the edge even over today's champions.
And he doesn't need it anymore.
With his accomplishments, the only man to ever do 3 weight divisions undisputed. Is he now a part of the greatest of all time conversation? And not of this era, but of all time.
Definitely is the greatest, one of the greatest of all times. You know, there's still greats out there. There's still, you know, his era or last era, you know, with the Mayweathers, with the Pacquiaos, I think he's, you know, already accomplished more. Pacquiao was 8 division, so we could argue there because Pacquiao was, 8 division is almost impossible, and he did it. Mayweather never became undisputed. He's a 5 division champion, but never became undisputed. Never really followed that unification, stuff like that. So I think when it comes to accomplishments, I think he's already done more.
Greg Hackett gave his perspective by comparing both fighters' performances against Canelo. He said Floyd showed complete control and unmatched precision when he faced him. Crawford, in contrast, fights with aggression and adaptability, but Floyd's execution was on another level. Hackett said Floyd's defensive perfection remains unmatched in history. Crawford's explosiveness is impressive, but Floyd's calculated dominance against Canelo was closer to flawless. Meanwhile, Stephen A. Smith praised Crawford's victory as one of the most entertaining in years. He admired how Crawford, the smaller man, made it look one-sided, showing both skill and entertainment that prove he can carry the sport forward.
But the biggest props of the night goes to Terence Crawford, who did not disappoint. He was supposed to be the smaller man. He was supposed to be the weaker man. He was supposed to be the man that was going to spend the entire night on his bicycle, running for his damn life because Saul Canelo Alvarez was coming his way. That is not what happened. What happened instead, ladies and gentlemen, was a masterclass in boxing by Terence Crawford. Now, to me, the fight, some people were saying it was just severely lopsided and stuff like that. I'm not going for that. I'm not feeling that at all. It wasn't like that at all, okay?
Veteran journalist Dan Rafael shared his perspective on Crawford's future. He said Crawford doesn't need to fight anymore to prove himself since his record already tells the story: multiple undisputed titles, elite wins, and dominance across divisions. Rafael said fighters at this stage should focus on protecting their legacy instead of chasing unnecessary bouts. He believes Crawford has already done enough to be remembered as a legend whether he continues or retires now. His resume alone secures his permanent place in boxing history.
But he stood in the pocket, like he's not moving anywhere from him. He's using his head moving, he's not being stupid, but he's not necessarily moving away from Canelo. Like you said, he's walking the, quote unquote, bigger man down and forcing the action rather than going off, reacting to Canelo's attacks. So I think it was such an impressive display. But it sort of begs the question now, when you're a 3-time undisputed champion, and I know money's important, financials, we always talk about that. His legacy is intact regardless. We'll start with Terence. What does a Terence Crawford do now? Like, what's the next thing that he does? Because you look around and go, is the only way that he really gets that ultimate chance if he goes up again? And do you say, what do you do?
I don't quite. Yeah, I mean, he was asked those questions at the press conference. He made 2 things clear. One, he's not going back to 154, and I say that because some people suggested about possibly pursuing a fight with Ennis, who has his debut in the weight class coming up.
Yeah.
That's probably unlikely. He's not going to go back down in weight. And I mean, no disrespect to Ennis, but Ennis is a guy that's known within the diehards of boxing. He's not in any way known beyond the boundaries of the hardcore boxing fans. So yeah. I don't know if that makes sense for a lot of different reasons for him. Not to say I wouldn't, as a boxing fan, enjoy watching the fight. So, yeah. But I don't think he's going back to 154. He was asked about like a Benavides at 175, and he acknowledged like that guy is really big. I mean, that's maybe a bridge too far. He already went up to 2 weight classes to fight Canelo at 68. So it feels to me like he can either stay at 168 and defend this championship and look to the same types of names that were being thrown around as the types of guys that would have been in the mix for Canelo had he won the fight.
That's all for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates. Until next time.